now than ever before. And parents are working longer hours, they're making less money, they're coming home, and the impact is being felt by the entire family. And that actually has an impact on the youth. They're probably having more unsupervised time. They are facing stressors at home due to the parent stressors, and I would argue that now more than ever it is time not to cut this position, because we could be in for tough times for the next couple of years, and I think it's imperative that we keep the youth motivated and will, continue to guide them during these troubled times.
Steve, you okay?
For the time being, yeah, for the moment.
Well, we need to move on. I think.
Ask one question,
yeah,
Bob?
sure.
I'm sorry. Under the Narissa profit and loss, I had this circled and I forgot to ask it. License and permits, $565. What would that be for?
That was a permit for the town of Reading for the Jordan fundraiser that we held.
They charge $565? Okay.
The alcohol.
Point of clarification.
Board members, from my perspective, first of all, I think that Jenny has done an outstanding job, and I think there's significant value to the program. And I know we're faced with budgetary issues, and I think to some degree it's difficult to quantify the value because of confidentiality, and we don't have a lot of statistical data of what it was and what this program has done to prevent. And I know that the school department has been very much in support of it when it comes to the value of the program. I wish they'd come forward and help with the finances of the program. But we are going to be looking at the detail of October town meeting and the funding and the gaps that we have to close. And at this point, I don't think the Youth Services Group or Narissa should go away this evening thinking that it's a dead issue. I think we should go through the numbers, take a hard look at what we might be able to do, and make a final decision as we take care of the balance of our priorities first.
Mr. Chair, I agree. I see that hopefully we're able to find funding somehow. Whether it's a collaborative effort or on the town side. What I see is the position, we're not able to support the position going forward, the void that it will create. What I heard this evening has sort of shifted my position here. And I think if there's just one youth that is saved by entering the program, whether it's mental health, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, in addition to the other services that are offered through the program, I think 35,000 pales in comparison to saving the youth. Most of everyone in the room knows what I do in my professional life, in my spare time. Most of my work is devoted to criminal defense work, and in my 16 years of doing that work, there's many juveniles that I have represented. There's many adults that I now represent that are represented as juveniles, and I can just see what happens once a youth gets into that system and doesn't have guidance, whether it be from home or from a program such as North Reading Youth Services, what could happen. And so that's what I have to say. I think it's incumbent upon this board, and I will encourage all my board members to take a hard look at the numbers, and hopefully we can find a solution to this issue.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I spoke with Christine the other day, and I told her, quite right, I'm at a loss. I really am at a loss, and I'm trying to be creative, and maybe I'm too close to it. Mr. Chairman, over the last couple of years, you and I have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours, you far more than I have, going through the numbers and prioritizing the budget along with the school department and the finance committee. And You know, again, and I don't mind taking a look at it and buying us a little bit of time here, but we have very, very little time, obviously, to take a look at it from this standpoint. Because October town meeting's coming up, the funding is running out, and, you know, if something's gonna be done, it has to be done. But you also have to look beyond just this fiscal year. You know, can we sustain, you know, this position going forward, along with others? And again, we've been asked to look at our priorities, and maybe we should be reprioritizing things, and certainly the comments that were presented this evening are compelling, and the students have done a fabulous job in presenting their take on it. So I don't mind taking a look at the numbers over the next week or so, week or two. And I hope I come up with some creative idea, and it's not that I haven't given it some thought. But I'm at a loss. I mean, as Mr. Vino pointed out, you know, we've got a hiring freeze on, we have public safety positions and other positions that we're not filling. School department is in the same situation. So it's going to be challenging in order to, so I don't want to leave you with false hope, but to me, I see this is extremely challenging in this short period of time to identify the funds. And again, are we going to just take a short-term look at this and see if we can, you know, put the finger in the dike and sustain it for, you know, through June? Or are we actually going to try and look at a long-range plan in sustaining this program and having it grow? And looking at what was presented to us, and what other municipalities are doing, and what some of the budgets here, the towns that do support it. But I also see, and one of the questions I have is some of the budgets are blank. How does that work with those other communities? Are they all self-sustaining programs and fundraising?
It's actually a function of time on the part of the
Oh, okay, because I just was...
They couldn't get all the, they couldn't fill in all the blanks.
Okay, that's fine, I opened my eyes and I'm saying, I see more than half of these communities don't have a budget, yet they all have directors and programs, so...
As a follow-up to Steve's comments, perhaps it would help also, you know, in terms of sustainability, to kind of take a look at the kinds of programs that we've got started and kind of forecast out over the next couple of years, how they could be grown to the point where they're self-sufficient. Because I suspect as you get to some critical mass, then, in fact, there's the opportunity to make this whole program self-funding.
I'll be honest, I mean, a couple of years ago, I was not in support of creating the position at the time because I didn't believe it was going to be sustainable. I didn't think that it could sustain itself, and the program wasn't going to be able to fund itself, and at the time, I didn't see the town as having the ability to do it. And of course, things have gotten worse. But it's here, and it has done a tremendous amount of good, and Jenny's done a terrific job with it, and Narissa is to be congratulated for their efforts and what they've done to date. But there's going to need to be, if this is going to be sustained in any fashion, I believe, and you've asked us tonight to take a look and be a little more creative. I have to throw something back at you, and Narissa specifically. There has to be a sustained commitment in raising some additional dollars going forward in order to assist if anything's going to happen here. Because, you know, like, and Rita is a testament to this, with the LUC and all the organizations that she's been a party to, you know, made a commitment when it came to Ipswich River Park and the development of the park, where they were raising $40,000 a year to pay off a debt, you know, for years, and kept their commitment. I haven't heard anything as far as what you anticipate. I mean, you've been into it a couple of years now, 2.5 years or so, so you know what it's going to take. How much do you think you can raise annually? And can you make a commitment to the community of X number of dollars? You don't have to give me an answer tonight, but I think we deserve some sort of a commitment or an answer in the short run.
Christine Fisher, 59 Mountain Street. Yeah, one of the questions you just asked is whether or not Narissa, you know, if you would take up a position and pay the sons at their salary, would you just all go, hooray, and walk away?
That's not, I'm sorry, if I left you that impression, that's not what I meant. But I didn't hear, I didn't...
It's not going to go away.
Right.
It's still fully out of the members of staff
annual event, we do actually collect quite a lot of money. We would hope one day not to only give it to Jenny's programs, but be able to help other programs likewise. And so, you know, if that's someone came to us, we would hope to say, yes, we've got an extra 5,000, here you are. So, yes, we're not going to go away. We are fully supporting everything that goes on with non-revenue services, and we will continue to support you. So if that helps you along in thinking that, you know, we can, you know, be there, I think that, I certainly would, yeah.
I think we need a dollar amount. I know I need a dollar,
Yeah.
you know.
Like I said,
Yeah, and again, I don't know what that number is. I mean, to date, you apparently have $30,000 that have contributed to the position, and we're $35,000 short.
it is harder to fundraise. I mean, we all know in this day and age, you know, to put on an event and to say that we'd like to get 5,000 from it and we end up with 1,000, you know, that's the realistic, you know, view of what goes on today. I'm not sure if we're able to put, you know, a dollar amount to it. I can tell you that our commitment is there, you know.
We are working on other revenue streams that I can't really identify yet. You know, and I know you want a number.
But we need, for me, as one member of the board, because I'm finding it difficult to commit, as one member of the board, these resources for this program and these positions right now, given what's occurring. And I also want to see it sustained if we're going to do that, you know. And I'm telling you right now, I believe that in order for this program to continue to exist, there needs to be continued outside assistance in funding it with some sort of firm dollar amount commitment that you think you can raise, a realistic figure. And I have every expectation that you would make every attempt to do that and more. But you have to be, you know, and again, I can only use LUC as a model as to what they made a commitment to do, and they did it, you know, for 10 years or more.
Steve, I just want to be clear as to what you're asking them. Are you asking them to come up with a dollar amount that they can contribute to go towards the cost of Jenny's salary, or separate and apart from her salary to go into the program?
No, see, to me, I'm looking, when I'm raising appropriating money at town meeting, X number of dollars, I'm looking at sources of revenue. You know, where is that source of revenue going to come from? And currently, it's in the budget with the sources of revenue not coming from raise and appropriate, but from gifts. That's what sustained it over the last year and a half, 2 years.
Well, it's more than gifts.
Yeah,
They had fundraising.
No, but it's gifts through NERISA. In other words, the money came through
yeah,
NERISA.
right,
It didn't come through the town coffers. You know, whatever came into the town coffers came through NERISA, along with the $4,500, which was...
So you're asking
so the-
Narissa to give us a dollar amount, is what
Give
they
us some sort of
contribute to the cost of
Yeah,
that
and
position.
again, being realistic as to what it is, so that we know, so we can quantify it.
A long-range plan.
Right.
Then we can determine how,
Yeah, whether it can be sustained or whether we can do it or not.
I think as I indicated before, this program, if it's established, can only grow. And as I mentioned before, we need to be able to know that we have the funds to maintain not only its base strategies, but its growth pattern. And that's important, because if youth services doesn't have the tools to work with, if we're in a position and we're able to find a way to have youth services director as a town employee, and you're able to raise X amount of funds through the years to support those programs, we need to know that. And otherwise, we can have a youth director, but no programs to run because there are no funds to do the programs. So we need to have something to hold on to. We need a vision too, I guess. We need a vision as well. And we want your vision to be our vision, but we just need to know how we're going to get there.
okay, we're gonna have to move on. I think when I talked to you, I said 15 minutes.
Mrs. Pulaski,
I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.